This year's National Technology Conference is held in beautiful Shanghai. This year's conference will focus on motivating adult learners. This year's keynote speaker is Mr. Steve Jobs, CEO of Apple Computers. Stephen Paul Jobs is an American businessman and the co-founder and chief executive officer of Apple Incorporated. He co-founded Apple in 1976. Apple is leading the consumer technology world with its revolutionary iPhone and App Store, its family of iPod media players and iTunes Media Store, and its Mac computers and iLife and iWork application suites. Apple recently introduced the iPad, a breakthrough internet and digital media device, plus the iBook Store, alongside iTunes and the App Store. Steve also co-founded and was the CEO of Pixar Animation Studios. Steve now serves on Disney's board of directors once Pixar merged with Walt Disney. It's fascinating to observe adolescents engaged in the learning process. They are eager to learn. Every bit of knowledge given to them is intriguing and welcomed. Young learners routinely question and look for answers and explanations to their new world. But what motivates them to quest for this knowledge? While on the other hand, many adult learners are resilient or hesitant to welcome new learning opportunities and challenges. Andragogy focuses on adult learning, where pedagogy relates to children learning. The process of motivating adult learners is an area that is in great need of exploring. We often speak of pedagogy and motivating young learners, but the area of andragogy is open for exploration. With the prevalence of distance education globally, more adults are becoming involved in pursuing advanced degrees and continuing education opportunities. Though it has been noted that adults tend to have more intrinsic motivational factors, adult learners are still in need of continuous motivation as they engaged in the learning process. This is due to their abundance of work and home responsibilities that can often reap havoc on their daily lives. It would be so easy for them to give up. In light of these factors, it behooves adult educators to reflect upon successful motivational techniques and strategies to keep the adult learners engaged and motivated. Knowles, 1984, based his andragogy theory on 5 assumptions. They are: 1. Self-concept. As people mature, their self-concept moves from one of being a dependent personality towards one of being a self-directed human being. 2. Experience. As people mature, they accumulate a growing reservoir of experience that becomes an increasing resource for learning. 3. Readiness to learn. As people mature, their readiness to learn becomes oriented increasingly to the developmental task of their social roles. 4. Orientation to learning. As people mature, their time perspective changes from one of postponed application of knowledge to immediacy of application, and accordingly, their orientation towards learning shifts from one of subject-centeredness to one of problem-centeredness. And 5, motivation to learn. As people mature, their motivation to learn is internal. Good evening. I'd like to welcome all of you to this year's National Technology Conference. Now, without further ado, I'd like for you to join me in welcoming Mr. Stephen Jobs of Apple Computers Incorporated. Thank you for coming.